Hello, and so in today's video we're going to be looking at this parent tip video, which is meant to be giving lots of tips and little quirky things to do with growing more plants from seeds, from things plants that you can buy at the grocery store or whatever. And in my opinion, it is a load of rubbish, absolute load of rubbish. It's a waste of time. Most of these techniques are going to lead to rotting, and it's just terrible. So I do have a gardening diploma. So we're going to go through this video and debunk some of these stupid so-called hacks. So the honey in the soil, I wouldn't do that. One, because if it does work, it's going to produce lots of shoots in the same area, and you would have to prick out all the different seedlings and then repot them again in different pots. So planting them directly into the soil I wouldn't do. Also, you want to really seed compost, a really free open compost. I can see there's bits of vermiculite or perlite in there, which is good for helping with drainage, but I would put it in its own pot in a good free draining seed compost, and that's where you're going to get a nice lovely shoots which you can then prick out and put into their individual pots until they've grown big enough to produce tomatoes.
Life's like a movie, I'm feeling so groovy, everything in my way.
Peppers you can't really grow in the UK outside, they need lots of heat, so it's best to grow those in a greenhouse. This broccoli one is completely stupid. I've tried it myself stupidly, but just plonking that in some water, it just rots. That's not going to happen, it just rots. I have no idea why she's growing tampons. Stupid. So cactus. So these sort of succulent plants, they do really work well by taking cuttings from leaves, such like this in the video. But these cuttings seem really long. I would take just like the tip. These cuttings are far too long, they might rot. The thing is with cuttings, you want to have a bit of stem having contact with the soil, but at the same time the problem is with the water retention, and the cutting is supporting too much vegetation on the top. It takes away from producing roots, so I think these cuttings are a bit too big. That's very artificial there, those flowers coming out the top. That's not what's going to happen. Is what's happening with the cutting or with those succulents is that they're going to produce roots coming out the bottom, and then you'll be able to cut off the material at the top and then use the roots from the bottom that are produced at the bottom to produce the new plant. Not that the whole cutting becomes a new plant. That's not how it works. This one is not so stupid, because this is not how gardening works. That's just stupid. The point of a flower is that it goes through different stages of its life. It has a life cycle like most things. It starts off as a seed, then it grows into a seedling, then a plant, then the plant produces leaves so it can produce energy, then it produces a flower. The flower then attracts the pollinators so the plant can get fertilized, and then once the plant is fertilized, it then produces seed. That's why it's good to deadhead your plants, because the moment that your plant changes from the flower cycle into the so-called death cycle, then it produces seed and then dies. So it's best to deadhead your plants, so cut off all the dying buds, just so your plant will keep producing, because the whole point of your flower and your plant is to produce seed. That is the whole point. The flower is just a nice side effect for us, but if you want to keep those flowers going, you have to keep deadheading your plant, because if it doesn't, it then just goes into producing seed, which then starts off its death cycle, which is the kind of producing seed and then dies. So when you take your cutting, you don't want to be taking any sort of material that has a flower bud on it, because that is not going to produce another plant. You want to have a nice, lovely side shoot normally with a few leaves on it, no flowering bud. So cutting off the flower at the top there and putting into some tea is not going to help. It's just going to rot. Why cut the flower in half? That is ridiculously stupid. They must have got that from when you take a cutting. You normally, sometimes if the leaves are too big from your cutting, you would cut the leaf in half to halve the, as we said before, about the water retention, and to help the plant so it doesn't support too much vegetation. And so you cut the leaf in half, but cutting a flower in half is absolutely stupid. That's just a stupid hack. And for some reason we've got some sort of caterpillar or something eating a leaf here. Salt. This is a really stupid hack as well. Salt kills plants. You know, table salt, rock salt, sea salt kills plants. There's no point putting salt around you. It's just if you put salt in soil, it's just going to make it so barren you won't be able to grow anything there. It's a really stupid hack. What they might have got this from is that you can use Epsom salts, which are different types of salt altogether. It's more magnesium based than calcium based. Or sodium based. So it's a different type. So sodium chloride is salt. Epsom salts is a different type of salt. It's not the same salt. So it can help. So Epsom salts can help your plants because it gives it nutrients like magnesium that it needs. But putting proper like rock salt, I'm not sure what type of salt, it does look like sea salt, rock salt, around your plants. Yes, it might keep away the bugs, but at the same time it's going to make your soil barren. It's probably going to kill off your plant. Right, that is another stupid hack. Right, growing seed. Oh, you're putting your seed in a cup and then putting soil on it. Like, that's not going to happen. That is not going to happen. That was so artificial. Roses are, like, most roses are grown from cuttings. So the cutting is taken from the parent plant and it's grown in the soil. Not really grown from seed. It can be grown from seed, but it's not normally grown from seed. And so, and putting them in at a tiny little teacup, producing all those roots for that amount of vegetation that was showing on that video to support all of that in that tiny little cup. No. You can mush up things like this with moss. It does work, and spreading it does work. So if you get some moss, put it in a blender, it does work. But with mushrooms, not too sure. Why would you want this when it looks so artificial? Like these apple hacks, like I'm not really fond of these apple hacks. Right, apples are, all apple trees, pear trees, like fruiting trees, are grafted. So which means that they're, a piece of the parent plant is taken and is grafted onto rootstock. The rootstock is normally for like pears and apples is like quince. So the rootstock will determine how tall the plant grows, whether it's a dwarf plant or a proper plant or whatever. And so all apple trees and pear trees are grafted onto this rootstock. They're hardly ever grown from seed. You put that apple seed in the soil, it's not going to grow a true plant. So for instance, we take a Granny Smith apple, we take the seed from the Granny Smith apple, put it in the soil. We want to grow a Granny Smith tree. Yes, that's not going to work because the seed will not produce a identical plant to the plant that you've grown. Granny Smith is a specific cultivar of a apple, which is Malus is the apple genus name, and Granny Smith is a cultivar of that, which means it has been specially grown, and that the Granny Smith plants are probably from the same plant, just different branches taken from each one. So they're true to that Granny Smith brand, but the seed will not produce the same effect as a true to a Granny Smith. So if you plant a Granny Smith apple seed, you'll probably get another apple. It won't be a true to Granny Smith. So planting apple seed in the soil is not going to work. This seems a stupid hack, like it's just going to rot. I don't see this working. It's because you've got squid, like a pepper will rot, and you're planting the squishy matter into squishy matter. I think it's just so see, this apple thing's not going to work. Yes, it might produce roots, but that plant is not going to produce a true apple to the one that you got it from. And always be there, just plonk it into the soil. That's not going to work. It needs to be planted properly into the soil, not just plonk. There we go, mushrooms. Oh, this one is absolutely stupid. Where in the world does a tomato plant grow on a tree? Nowhere. A tomato plant grows on a green strong stem, It's always green and it branches off, blah, blah, blah. It's never like it was in that photograph. Never, ever, ever, ever does it produce a brown bark tree. Like, tomatoes do not grow on a brown bark tree. That's just so stupid. That's so artificial. That is just so stupid. Yeah, we've seen this hack before. It doesn't work. Trust me, it just rots. Waste of time. Now, these sort of things will grow quite well on like cotton buds and things. There we go. The cat's tacking into that nice food. I don't really like this hack. It just seems really stupid. Why is he using a drill? It's ridiculous. So as we're seeing in that video, this is not good. That you're putting all those seeds in the ball. They're all going to grow at the same time. They're all going to grow in one area. They're all going to get congested. It's not the best way to be planting seed. You need to be planting seed in like a row so they all have their own space to grow. Planting them all, like how many seeds are in that one little ball, and they're all trying to struggle to get their own roots and struggle to grow and get the light and stuff. It's just too much. Too much. This hack is not going to work. You need to get those cyclamen seeds. You need to plant them in a row, or plant them a lot less denser than what they've done in that ball. That's not going to work. You're just going to have lots of scraggly little seeds. It's not going to work. You need to be planting them in lines, or scatter them so they have space to grow. That's what you need to do. And I would say if you're a novice, like if you're following these hacks and you're a novice to gardening, I just wouldn't bother with planting stuff from seed. Planting stuff from seed can be quite difficult. It can be quite difficult to get it right and need the right conditions. For instance, you need a nice free draining compost that's got lots of like vermiculite, lots of space for the air and the water to drain totally. Also, the seed needs to have the right humidity. It needs some seed needs heat from the bottom to actually germinate, which means to take on water and produce shoots. Then you've got the lighting problem. You need to get the light correct, or they're just going to create long straggly shoots which aren't really very good. You can correct them if you do get long straggly shoots by planting them deeper in the soil when you prick them out and pot them up. But you've got that problem as well, and then you've got to prick them all out, put them in their own pots, and they've got to grow, and it's just so many stages that you've got to go through. If you've got the right facilities like a greenhouse or like a potting bench greenhouse, and you have all the facilities, then fine, go ahead, and you've got the artificial lighting going on, go and do that. Then that's probably a great opportunity for you to produce as many plants as you can from seed. People produce plants from seed because it's cheap, because you can get so many plants from those seeds, but that's only if you do it right. My advice to you, if you're a novice gardener, or that you just don't want all that hassle of producing seed and going through the seed growing process, then just go to the garden centre. You can buy little junior plants that are like really small, so you can buy like cabbages, lettuce, sweet corn, tomatoes. they always do tomatoes. You buy all these little vegetables, little mini plants, and then you can try and grow them in your garden. I wouldn't grow them in the soil because of slugs, snails will devour those. So unless you've got like an allotment or some protected environment like a greenhouse to put them in, then I wouldn't do that. Have them somewhere high where the plants can't get to them, and then grow them in like a raised planting bed and try and protect it from slugs and snails to grow your own vegetables. Plants like carrots need to be directly sown into the soil, so you can't buy those, and you would have to directly sow those. And if you're directly sowing carrots, then plant some marigolds next to them, because carrots can be affected by carrot fly, and they can eat your and devour your carrot, and then you have no crop. So plant marigolds next to it, and it confuses the carrot fly, and so they don't know it's a carrot, because the smell from the marigold disguises it. So that's what we do. It's called companion planting. But yeah, it's best to, if I was you, I would go and buy these little plug plants from the garden centre. The same with flowers as well. You can buy little plug plants and grow them on and plant them. Yeah, so that is the video, stupid video hacking gardening video, which is absolute rubbish. Don't listen to any of those rubbish things. Go out and buy a horticultural book. You can get them in the charity shop. I've got loads in my charity shop. You can go out and buy them in the charity shop. I've got a whole shelf full of gardening books. Or just go to the garden centre, Dobbies or whatever there is now. Dobbies, I don't know any other gardening centre names, but there's lots of other gardening centres out there. And just go and buy these little plug plants and just create your own little garden, because you can buy plug plants, especially this time of the year. You can get things like tumbling plants, potted plants, bed plants, petunias, lobelia, all these wonderful plants. So go out and buy those and make your garden beautiful. There we go. So that's that video. Hope you enjoyed it. Goodbye.